Unfortunately, I won't say Republican because I think they're pretty well divided, but our MAGA Republicans in Congress are threatening to do all this progress by letting us, quote, default on the debt unless we agree to their demands. The two are totally unrelated. Whether you pay the debt or not doesn't have a damn thing to do with what your budget is. What your budget is. Where you're going to spend money, how you're going to raise the money, what are you going to cut, they're two separate issues. Two. And let's get it straight. They're trying to hold the debt hostage to us to agree to some draconian cuts, magnificently difficult and damaging cuts. But I'll get into that in a little bit. But unfortunately, they're threatening to undo all this progress by letting us default. We're not a deadbeat nation. Their budget that they promoted, that was attached to their debt ceiling increase, but they tied them together now. I want to make that clear. You all know this, I know, but for the listeners, they've tied it together. They say we're not going to increase the debt that every president has done for the last 6 million years here. Never hadn't done anything but that, unless you pass our budget as we're proposing.
We're not a deadbeat nation.
Let's have the normal arguments. That's why we have a budget process, to debate and open so you all can see it and know exactly what it is that they want to spend the money on, what they want to cut it on, who pays taxes, who doesn't pay taxes, and us as well. We're ready for that debate. We're ready for that debate.
We're not a deadbeat nation.
The last thing this country needs, after all we've been through, is a manufactured crisis. And that's what this is, a manufactured crisis. And that's what it is from beginning to end. It's a manufactured crisis driven by the MAGA Republicans in the Congress. Look, instead, we should be debating a vision of our country's future. Their vision versus our vision. Totally legitimate. Totally legitimate. And it's legitimate the American people said we like their vision better than ours. But debate the vision. And whether or not we're going to take our country backward, and certainly not whether or not we're going to default on our debt.
We're not a deadbeat nation.
I understand the Republican position. It's about cutting taxes, more taxes for the wealthy. I get it. But we should have the debate in the open, not behind whether or not we're not going to discuss it, because if we do, we're not going to have the debt limit passed.